Mike would have some questions about it inside. Well, I don't really know if I want to sign this document because Bill would really know more about the business than Robin would add on. But Mike, your son, our son, Mike, your son. Now Mike is all kinds of screwed up. I better sign my son. I don't want to hurt my son. It was a brilliant move, brilliant by Robin, to get Mike to do whatever had to be done.
Two prolific champions, two distinct eras in heavyweight history. The story of the aging champion coming back to challenge the new kid on the block takes us back to the turn of the century. James J. Jeffries won the heavyweight title back in 1899. After 7 successful title defenses, he retired undefeated in 1905. But 5 years later, the 35-year-old Great White Hope returned to challenge the reigning champion, Jack Johnson. Jeffries was stopped in the 15th. In 1937, Joe Louis began his 12-year reign of terror in the heavyweight division. In his prime, the Louis right hand was a lethal weapon. But in 1951, after losing a comeback title fight to Ezzard Charles, a 37-year-old Joe Louis lost to the heir apparent to the heavyweight throne, Rocky Marciano. In the 60s and 70s, the greatest, Muhammad Ali, ruled the division with a grace and a flair for the dramatic. But at the age of 38, a 31-year-old champion clipped the wings of the butterfly and took the stinger out of the bee. Larry Holmes would rule the heavyweight division for 7.5 years. And now a 38-year-old former champion steps out of retirement and into the ring one more time. The new undisputed heavyweight champion stands menacingly in his way. You're looking at an oceanside resort in the dead of winter. Outdoor activities are at a standstill, but indoors, the action is hot. We're live at the Convention Center in Atlantic City, New Jersey, as HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing. Undisputed heavyweight champion Mike Tyson defends his title against former champion Larry Holmes. It's scheduled for 12 rounds. It is an estimated $4 million gate, the toughest ticket Atlantic City has ever seen. The reason, it's hoped 20 years from now, people will be talking about Tyson versus Holmes, and these people can say, I was there. A 7.5-year former champion takes on the new era in the heavyweight division. As you've seen, it's a fight with a historical precedent. Now the question is, will it be a competitive fight in the ring? Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with Larry Merchant and Sugar Ray Leonard. It is an evening that is wrought with questions. Can the fight itself be as big as the event? Can Larry Holmes possibly win this fight? And if he can win it, how can he win it? Many have tried, as you saw, and not one has heard that last hurrah. True enough, Jersey Joe Walcott did win the heavyweight championship at age 37, but he never stepped away from the ring. And Ray, I can't help but wonder if people aren't looking at you, Ray Leonard, particularly Larry Holmes, and saying, well, Ray did it, why can't I do it? Is that the reason he's coming back? You've talked to him on a couple of occasions, or is there another reason?
Well, Barry, let me patronize myself. I'm a specialist at comebacks. But I was able to come back for one reason. That was to beat Marvin Hagler. No, not the money, not the attention, no, the limelight. Larry Holmes, I had problems with his reasons for coming back. He stated that he wanted to avenge those 2 losses against Michael Spinks, and also kind of, it's like a vindication to get back at what he did against Michael Spinks.
And the first question on everybody's lips here in Atlantic City, whether it's to the press or whether it's to former fighters or to just the folks around and about the casinos, is do you give Larry Holmes any chance whatsoever? The almost unanimous verdict is no. What about you? Do you give him a chance?
Well, I give Larry Holmes a chance, mainly because of his past experience. He's a very intelligent man in the ring. and he has the height and reach advantage. In other words, he has the physical attributes to compete with the Mike Tyson if he's okay upstairs. For him, the first round is vital. He has survived the first round, but also gain respect in the first round.
Well, there's another question that's been asked all week long, too, and that is, can Mike Tyson take Larry Holmes seriously as a challenger? I asked it to Mike Tyson myself, and the answer is an unequivocal yes. He takes everybody serious. Business, you see, for Mike Tyson is business. There's no alarm clock, no wake-up call. After 8 years, it's Mike Tyson's body that signals the beginning of a new day.
No one wants to get up at 4 and run when it's pitch dark. It has to be done. And the only reason I do it so early is because I believe that the other guy isn't doing it, and that it gives me a little edge. The most difficult part about fighting is the training, because, believe it or not, the easy part about fighting is the fighting.
Returning to bed after his morning run, the champ awakens once again to start the day's activities. These are the members of Camp Tyson. 5 weeks prior to a fight, they gather in Atlantic City to initiate the training program. There is no entourage.
When a fight scenario takes place, we act as a family. Kevin, Mike, and I, we live together, we go out together, we go to the gym together.
Monday through Saturday, Mike Tyson goes to work. During this period, he'll train an estimated 55 hours, spar 200 rounds, and shed approximately 15 pounds. A champion's life is very monotonous.
Around a month before the fight, the only thing I think about is just training, constantly training. I enjoy it, but it gets sometimes boring because it's just constantly repetitious, over and over, the same thing over and over.
To speed bag, from jumping rope to heavy bag, most fighters use similar training techniques. Yet Tyson's camp has developed a few tricks of its own.
Well, the purpose of the slip bag is to get the fighter moving his head, to get him in the habit of moving his head correctly. You have to try to be elusive. See, as long as the fighter's trying to be elusive, you're gonna be all right. That's what I emphasize. That's what we're trying. That's what we got over everybody else.
After 7 years of slipping and dodging this sand-filled pendulum, Mike Tyson has become one of the most evasive fighters in boxing today.
There you go. That's what I'm told. That's a combination we haven't seen. When I'm on the heavy bag with Michael, I'm working on his form. I tell him, you're not moving enough, because you got to move at least 3 times. Certain punches. You throw a straight punch, you move 3 times. You throw a hook, you move twice.
Most impressive is the power and quickness he's developed. This 4-punch combination seems basic. For a heavyweight, 4 punches in under a second is incredible. Watch closely.
There you go, there you go.
Besides videotaping the punches that are thrown, Mike is instructed what to throw. Each type of punch has been assigned a number.
The right hand, left hook, right hand. Now give me 1, 5, 1. We use a number system where I call out the different numbers for the different punches. 9, 10, 11. Body, head.
When Kevin tells me the numbers of 4, 5, 6, I know exactly what they are. I don't even have to think.
I want you to 5-1 now. 7 coming in. What's going to go 5-1? 5-5-1.
Such a system provides a quick and private means of communication. And it's not just training. The press must also be attended to. To break up his formatted training schedule, Tyson often passes time by shopping. Still, this doesn't ease the worry or the constant anticipation of fight night.
80% of the training is all emotional. I try not to think about the fights, but usually I always think about the fight in my mind. While I'm in training, I would dream about the fight. And I always dreamed that I lose, and it was very scary. And I thought, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? And it's funny, when you dream you lose, you wake up, and you wake up thinking that you lost. And it's scary.
On a good night, the group may rent a video. But on this night, they choose to screen and analyze the day's workout.
You gotta start doing the sparring.
And in just 9 hours, it'll be time to start all over again.
My favorite part about training is then when the training is over and then it's time to fight, and I know I'm in supreme shape and there's no one's going to beat me. And then after the fight's over and I'm victorious, you know, I say, wow, I'm going to do this next time. I'm going to even train harder.
So coming up, a former champion tries to gather up all the skills that once were there just one more time and beat a man 17 years his junior who appears, for the moment at least, to be invincible. Larry Holmes fights Mike Tyson for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Now, with his own perspective on this suddenly big event, here's Larry Merchant.